achievement chart is one that we are looking at and tracking a student's progress through their L2LP program. So here we have the elements down on the bottom, and again it's a Excel spreadsheet to make things easier. So here we have the different columns. So here you have the PLU, and as I said, each one has its own tab. You have the element of learning here across the top, and then the learning outcomes per element is listed. Exactly the same as it was in the master link. Now let's have a look at the columns that were created. Now the columns that were created, the subject ownership, well, we don't require those anymore because we have the master document, so we can actually hide those. So I'm going to just hide those documents, those columns, because we don't need them. But what we will look at is at the beginning of the year you will have teacher ownership. So once the teachers have identified the learning outcomes that their subject can assess, they will then take ownership of those learning outcomes, and they will just come in and type their initials in here. So hopefully by the end of the first day of your planning, you will have had a lot of teachers coming in and just choosing to assess a particular learning outcome. Otherwise it becomes the departments to go in and have a look for which departments can assess that learning outcome. The assessment date is for the date that you actually do an assessment moment with that particular learning outcome. The certified by would be the same teacher that has taken ownership of it, and your type of evidence that you upload won't just say a photo or a PDF or whatever it is, that the physical form, it will be the actual name. So if you've uploaded a worksheet, you would say that it's a worksheet. If it's an image, you would put in an image. If it is a worksheet, it would be a worksheet, because that's what the evidence actually was. Now the achievement of those elements will be if that the majority of the learning outcomes in that element has been achieved. So that means that more than 50%. So if you're looking at this one, there's 7, so you're looking at more than 50% will be 4 or 5. So that will mean that if they have 4 or 5 of these learning outcomes achieved, you can mark in that the element has been achieved. Once again, this is an easy document for tracking. So at the end of each academic year, we can see at a quick glance which learning outcomes have been achieved, which learning outcomes still have to be achieved, and obviously any that have not been achieved can also be identified.